Welcome back to Daily Dose of Knowledge. If you're new here, subscribe and stay because today's video might be the most important one on this channel. Not because it is the most dramatic, because it is the most honest. Today we are talking about something millions of people are quietly experiencing right now. And most of them have no idea it has a name. You remember when things used to feel different? When a hobby could completely absorb you for hours. When a song could hit you so hard it felt like it was written specifically for you. When a simple evening with people you cared about felt genuinely memorable. When the future felt like something to look forward to, rather than something to get through. Now things feel different, not terrible necessarily. Just quieter. Flatter. Like someone turned the brightness down on everything and you can't find the setting to turn it back up. Your hobbies are still there, you still do them. But the spark is gone. You go through the motions. You do the things that used to bring you joy, and you feel approximately nothing. And the most unsettling part is that you can't pinpoint when it happened. There was no single moment. The color just drained out gradually until one day you looked around and realized everything looked gray. If any of this is familiar, you are not alone, and you are not broken. But you do need to understand what is actually happening. The clinical term for what you are experiencing is anhedonia. It comes from the Greek, and meaning without hedon meaning pleasure. Anhedonia is the reduced ability to feel pleasure, interest, or excitement from things that previously brought joy. It is not depression necessarily, though it can accompany it. It is its own distinct psychological and neurological phenomenon. And it is becoming one of the defining experiences of modern life. Let's start with the neuroscience. Because understanding what is happening in your brain changes everything. Your brain's experience of pleasure and reward is governed primarily by a neurotransmitter called dopamine. When you do something enjoyable, your brain releases dopamine and you feel good. But dopamine is not just about pleasure. It is primarily about anticipation. About the pursuit of reward rather than the reward itself. This is a crucial distinction. Your brain gets more dopamine from wanting something than from having it. The chase is the high. The arrival is the letdown. This is why the first time you experience something, a new hobby, a new relationship, a new song, it felt extraordinary. Your brain was flooded with dopamine in anticipation of something unknown and potentially wonderful. And this is why the 100th time feels flat. Your brain already knows what's coming. The anticipation is gone. And without anticipation, the dopamine barely fires. This process is called hedonic adaptation. And it is one of the most fundamental and most underappreciated forces shaping your inner life. Hedonic adaptation is your brain's tendency to return to a baseline level of emotional response, regardless of what happens to you. Good things stop feeling good. Bad things stop feeling bad. Everything normalizes. It is an evolutionary mechanism. A brain that stayed permanently overwhelmed by every new stimulus would be useless for survival, so the brain adapts. It adjusts. It moves the goalposts. The problem is that in the modern world, this mechanism is being exploited at a scale it was never designed for. Now let's talk about overstimulation. Because this is the layer most people miss entirely. Every single day, your brain is bombarded with more stimulation than any human brain in history has ever had to process. Thousands of notifications, endless content feeds. Constant noise, constant input, constant demand for attention. Social media platforms are specifically engineered by teams of the world's most talented behavioral psychologists to trigger dopamine responses as frequently and intensely as possible. Every scroll, every like, every notification is a tiny dopamine hit. And when your brain is receiving hundreds of these artificial dopamine hits every single day, the natural rewards of ordinary life start to seem pathetically weak by comparison. A walk in nature used to be genuinely stimulating for the human brain. Now it has to compete with an infinite scroll of perfectly curated content designed in laboratories to be as stimulating as possible. Your hobby used to be exciting. Now it has to compete with on-demand entertainment, instant gratification, and a phone that can deliver novelty every 3 seconds. The hobby didn't change. Your brain's baseline did. This is why the world feels like it's losing its color. It is not the world that changed. It is your brain's ability to be affected by it. Your reward system has been so thoroughly overstimulated by artificial inputs that natural life has become neurologically underwhelming. The color was always there. You just lost the ability to see it. Now let's talk about time. Because the feeling that time is moving too fast is deeply connected to all of this. Neuroscience and psychology both confirm what you already feel intuitively. Time seems to speed up as we age. And the reason is directly related to novelty and attention. When you are young, everything is new. Every experience is being encoded as a first day of school, first friendship, first heartbreak, first achievement. Your brain is fully engaged because it has no prior model to compare to. New experiences require full conscious processing. They are slow and vivid and memorable. They take up space in your memory in a way that makes that period of life feel rich and long. As you get older, fewer things are genuinely new. Your brain runs more on autopilot, more on pattern recognition, less on full conscious engagement. And time spent on autopilot compresses in memory. A week on autopilot feels like a day in retrospect. A year of routine feels like a month when you look back. This is why childhood summers felt infinite and adult years feel like they evaporate. It is not that time is actually moving faster. It is that you are living less of it consciously. And this is directly connected to the gray feeling. A life lived mostly on autopilot, same routines, same inputs, same patterns, is a life that barely registers. Not because nothing is happening. Because nothing is new enough to demand full attention. Now let's talk about the social dimension. Because anhedonia does not exist in isolation, it is deeply affected by how connected or disconnected we feel to other people. Human beings are wired for genuine face-to-face connection. Our nervous systems literally regulate through proximity to other people we trust. This is not metaphorical, it is physiological. And yet modern life has systematically replaced deep genuine connection with shallow digital simulation of connection. Likes instead of conversations. Follows instead of friendships. Parasocial relationships with strangers on screens instead of vulnerable real relationships with people who actually know you. Research consistently shows that loneliness has reached epidemic levels across the developed world. And loneliness, the absence of genuine felt connection, is one of the most powerful triggers of anhedonia. When you are genuinely connected to people you care about, ordinary life gains color almost automatically. Shared experiences, inside jokes, being truly known by another person. These are among the most powerful natural dopamine and oxytocin sources available to the human brain. When that connection is missing or thin or substituted with digital simulation, the color drains from everything else too. Nothing quite lands the way it should because the neurological context for it to land in simply isn't there. Now here is the question you actually came here for. Can this be fixed? The honest answer is yes. But not in the way most people hope. There is no shortcut, no supplement, no content you can consume that will give you back the color. Because consumption is part of the problem. The path back is through the opposite of everything modern life is pushing you toward. The first step is dopamine recalibration. Your brain's reward system needs a reset. And the only way to reset it is to reduce artificial stimulation deliberately and consistently. This does not mean throwing your phone in a river. It means creating intentional periods of low stimulation, time where you are genuinely bored, genuinely quiet, genuinely unstimulated. This feels deeply uncomfortable at first. But discomfort is the signal that it is working. Your brain is recalibrating. The threshold is lowering. And as it lowers, ordinary things start to register again. The second step is novelty. Deliberate, real-world novelty, not new content, new experiences. Things your brain has never processed before. A new physical skill. A new environment. A new social context. A conversation with someone whose life is completely different from yours. Real novelty forces full conscious engagement, and full conscious engagement is what makes time slow down and life feel vivid again. The third step is depth over breadth. Instead of consuming everything shallowly, go deep into one thing. A single book read slowly and thoroughly. A single skill practiced until it becomes real competence. A single relationship given genuine sustained attention. Depth creates meaning. And meaning is what color actually is. The world doesn't lose color randomly. It loses color when nothing in it feels meaningful enough to deserve full attention. The fourth step is genuine human connection. Not digital connection, real connection. The kind that requires vulnerability, presence, and time. Invest in the relationships that make you feel genuinely known. This is the most powerful single intervention for anhedonia that psychology has identified. Not medication, not therapy alone, not lifestyle changes alone. Genuine felt human connection recalibrates the brain at a neurological level that nothing else can replicate. You are not the only one feeling this. An entire generation is quietly experiencing the same gray, the same flatness. The same sense that something essential has been lost without knowing exactly when or how. And that collective experience is itself meaningful information. It is the human nervous system sending a signal that the way we are living is not matching the way we are built to live. The color is not gone. It is waiting on the other side of stillness, of novelty, of depth, and of genuine connection. It was always there. You just need to recalibrate the instrument that sees it. That is your daily dose of knowledge for today. Drop a comment and tell me honestly. Do you feel this? When did the world start losing its color for you? Share this with someone who needs to know they are not alone in this. Subscribe because we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.